All right, guys. Absolutely phenomenal morning. Listen, this is your breakfast with the brand. I am your host, Sean East, as always, flanked by the phenomenal Bobby Jackson. Listen, guys, we're about to have a serious meeting of the minds this Monday. Share this out in advance. You're going to want to share this out. Everyone that follows you is going to want to hear this information. This is my guarantee to you. We're going to go over a very serious topic this Monday, meeting of the minds Monday. Bobby Jackson, how you feeling, brother? What's going on over there?
Feeling phenomenal. I know a lot of us have been setting up routines for the year, and I've been sticking to mine. Best is yet to come. That's how I feel. I've been getting into some routines that have been affecting so many areas of my life in a positive way that I'm just excited about what the future has to hold.
Okay, let's talk about one of those routines. What's one of those routines? Just one of them.
Absolutely. So just one is doing things with the opposite hand. Doing things with the opposite hand. So if I'm used to brushing my teeth with the right hand, I'll brush it with the left hand. Just subtle disruptions.
Subtle disruptions. I like it, guys. So listen, guys, we're about to get started. I want to go to a break real quick and let you get your pens ready, get your notebooks ready, get everything that you need to get the cup of coffee, the water, whatever it is, tea in the morning, get all of that situated, because we're going to be going over message to market fit. Message to market fit, guys, because a lot of you're trying to bring in more leads, you're trying to attract more people, but you're missing something. And what a lot of people are missing is the message to market fit. This is your breakfast with the brand. We'll be right back. Let's grow. There's slow growth and then there's scale. There's incremental growth and then there's exponential growth. What I want to talk to you about is adding a zero to you and experiencing exponential scale. Incremental growth says 1 + 1 is 2. Exponential growth says 1 + 0 is 10. Incremental growth says 2 + 2 is 4. Exponential growth says 5 + 0 is 50. Guys, listen, when you add a zero to you, you can add a zero to the marketplace. You can add a zero to the value that you bring. So you can add a zero to your family, add a zero to your legacy. This is what we're talking about. We're not talking about incremental, we're talking about exponential. I always say that business is a spiritual game. Just imagine when you combine your skills, your values, your abilities, your talents to something bigger than you, something greater than you, something like the power of exponential. That is adding a zero. Add a zero to your competence, add a zero to your confidence. This is about adding a zero in your life, your value, your industry, and your mission. Let's grow. The reason why I did this and what I do is help leaders to become brands and brand themselves. You train people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. I teach authenticity marketing. If people can take advantage of you, they will in your personal or professional existence.
My biggest takeaways just from day one is you are the brand. I would recommend it to anybody that's really looking to build a personal brand.
Just the brand in general has changed my life. I've grown so much since I've been a part of this.
I see myself in what he does, and I believe in it just as much as I believe in myself.
All right, guys, so let's get to it. Message to market fit. What does it mean to have message to market fit? You know what it looks like when you have message to market fit? You have endless qualified leads. Now, who wants that? Somebody put it in the chat if that's something that you would really like in your business. Listen, guys, I work with people who are CEOs, business owners, and key executives. No beginners, no, I think I have an idea, none of that stuff. CEOs, business owners, and key executives. That keeps all of my people qualified. Just that simple. Message to market fit brings me the ideal client. I want you to understand the rudimentary nature of what I just said. The very basics, the foundation of business is to identify who you want to do business with. I tell people all the time, listen, guys, before you try to design the ideal business, before you just try to get out here and just make money, you want to make sure that you know who you're talking to and know who you want to do business with. Know who you're talking to, know who you want to do business with, and the origin of that. For us in Branded Like a Leader, for us in the Branded Like a Leader Academy, for us inside of the Leadership Leverage Executive Coaching Community is this. This is my first testament, basically, to my ideal client. Design your ideal life. Design your ideal life first, and then design the ideal business model around that. Most people do it the other way around. They say, well, I need to make money, or this person wants this, or there's a need in the market for this, and I'm going to fulfill that need. Okay, but does it align with your ideal life? Does it align with your ideal life and who you want to spend most of your time with? Because if it doesn't, you're not going to be a business owner. You're going to have a high-paying job at best. A high-paying job, and that job is going to become a burden to you. And you will not feel free, nor will you enjoy independence if you have not created your ideal life first and then created the ideal business model around that. Now, in that transition is the most important part. Who do you want to spend time with? That's your ideal client avatar, because you're going to spend time servicing these individuals. Once you know that, once you know who your ideal client is, then all of your messaging, all of your ads, all of your color psychology, your brand, your logo, all of those things are designed to hook or speak to or attract your ideal client. The person that's qualified, the person that's qualified to do business with you. If you're not doing that, then you're not only are you missing the money, you're missing the mark and you're missing the purpose of business.
There's so much packed into that, Coach, that I don't know which angle to really unpack it from.
Just choose one. Just choose one, because this is meaty. We're going to be here for a moment.
Man, so one of the things that I wrote down was lead generation and revenue generation and capital raising, like raising capital. So all of these things came to my mind because of the conversation we had Friday, when we were just talking about being able to generate income. And that's what a lot of us are looking for: income, impact, independence, right? Like that's what we come here for. So when we talk about message to market fit, what I think is so exciting about the topic itself is that when I made my transition from the military, I used the message to market fit that I had been establishing over the past 24 months to speak to a market. And as I spoke to that market, I was able to generate income. And as I generated income, I was able to prove impact. And the thing that's interesting about banks and other financial institutions is this: they are more willing to invest in a system than they are in a person. Okay? So financial institutions understand this. They understand that I can either invest in a person or I can invest in a system. The moment you have message to market fit, you have a operating component of your marketing system. So I was able to take to the bank my revenue, and I could say, hey guys, I got revenue here, because I'm speaking to a targeted audience effectively. And I've been doing this over time, which shows that I have been increasing my impact in this environment, hence the income that I receive. So I think that this is very important for anybody that's looking to really get serious about scale, because that was the first thing for me, was being able to actually borrow money, because I had outgrown my bootstrapping stage. But I couldn't have borrowed that money without message to market fit, showing that I actually have a system here that I leveraged from Branding Like a Leader to actually to produce income and independence, or excuse me, income and impact.
So important, guys. So let me just share with you real quick what this looks like in real time. If you don't have message to market fit, you'll find yourself in a bad relationship. How many of us have experienced that? How many of us, just hear me out real quick, because you're creating a extended relationship with the marketplace, with your ideal clients. And the first relationship that a person has as you're growing and you're evolving is with people, right? So what is the message to market fit? If you don't have message to market fit, you'll wake up one day and say, who are these people in my house? Who are these people in my house? Because you have to have a message to qualify or disqualify the ideal client. So you're bringing your ideal client in and you're repelling. So let me just say this, the highest evolution of message to market fit is one wherein you attract your ideal clients like clockwork, autopilot. And this is why we don't have to script, because I use authenticity marketing. For some people, I'm very abrupt. You know that, Bobby? For some people, I'm very abrupt. I'm very confrontational. People have said you're aggressive, Sean. And I think, what do you mean aggressive? I'm not aggressive. I'm assertive. I want people to be successful. I'm not aggressive. What do you mean I'm intimidating? I'm inspiring. But watch this. I'm not inspiring for all people. And watch this. It's intentional. It's meant to be that way. The way you experience me is how you're supposed to experience me, whatever that might be. So two people are sitting at a bar, two people are sitting on YouTube, two people are sitting on their phone. In walks the brand. One person has their interpretation, another person has another interpretation, right? Because nobody's the same. Everybody has different DNA. I want you to think. We're still talking about your business. We're still talking about billion-dollar branding. We're still talking about creating your business in a way that will endlessly serve you. Not only monetization, because we have to put meaningfulness over money, we have to put value over valuation, and we have to put people over profit. If you try to do it the other way around, it's not going to be sustainable. It will be attainable, but it will not be sustainable, nor will it feed you. It will take from you. Do you understand? This is why we're able to go live every morning with no problem at all, no default whatsoever. And I feel energized from it as opposed to de-energized from it. It feeds me. And I'm able to consistently provide value without having to script it or memorize it, because it's not fake. It's not false. Again, so let's go back to the origin. One person has an interpretation, and their interpretation is this is the best thing since sliced bread. They're able to come into the brand, immediately monetize, immediately enhance their leadership. Everything is amplified. And then another person has the interpretation, I don't know, his voice is a little bit loud. He's very direct. To me, it feels like confrontation. I'm intimidated. I'm fearful. He pushes us out there into the water. He pushes us out there into the marketplace. I'm uncomfortable doing that. That's great. That's great. There's multiple providers. Look at it like this. Some people like peanut butter. Some people like ice cream. Some people like bananas. And if you're trying to be ice cream, peanut butter, and bananas, you're a mess. You're a mess. That's what you are. And your business is a mess. That's what it is. And you know who wants it? Nobody. That's why you're not getting clients. That's why you're not monetizing. That's why people come in, take a little dip in your pool and jump out immediately, because they can't figure out who you serve, how you serve them, what you do, whether you're real, whether you're not, and why all of these different people are here. It's a mess. You have to choose who you serve. You have to choose who you serve. You have to make a choice. It takes us back to the 4D framework, guys. Decide. You have to decide, and then you have to give it the discipline to develop so that you can dominate in your vertical. You'll never dominate in your vertical if you're all over the place. If you do a little bit of every vertical. This shows up everywhere, Bobby. People get jobs that they think they want, and then they're miserable in their job. And people get into relationships that they think they want, and then they're miserable in their marriage because they haven't made the decision first. Once you make the decision, then you can design the market, your marketing. You can design your marketing to attract your ideal client because you're only speaking to one person. Me, I'm only speaking to one person, that person who is the CEO, the business owner, the key executive who aspires to become the economic connoisseur entrepreneur. I'm not speaking to everyone. I'm not speaking to everyone. So we do not attract the people who are unqualified or bad fits, because every single day, every single post, every single live, I'm deepening the impression. I'm saying the same thing to the same market.
You know, I remember feeling as if I hadn't cried over my brand story yet. I remember this distinctly through Branded Like a Leader, because we were going through an exercise and you were telling us to write things down. And you warned us that some people cry during this process. And when I'm thinking about this and I'm just reliving that process, I wonder how many people in the audience have done that yet. Because you don't know, if you haven't been trained, how to actually get to that part of you. Because one of the things that I've learned about marketing, and authenticity marketing for that matter, is sometimes you have to grow into your message. You have to grow into your message. And what I mean by this is sometimes you have to accept yourself before you can accept your ideal client. And I'll just share with you guys what my process looked like. I tried to put the Marine Corps behind me. I tried to say, I'm not a Marine. You know, I was a Marine. I know the truth, once a Marine, always a Marine. But I tried, for whatever reason, to say, I am an economist, and I have gone through this process in this program, and I do this now. And because I tried to do what I thought was going to make me money, I was really severing my authenticity, because I wasn't really that person. I was a person, a real person, but I was a battle-tested warrior, built entrepreneur that just so happened to understand finance, economics. I had 12 years in military, special operations, and execution. I had, say, my educational background in finance, economics. So when we're really talking about who you are, what you are, and how you message effectively, one of the things that I had to do is I just really had to grow into my message. I had to really, it took 4 years for me to put a flag in my office. 4 years for me to say,
4 years.
Okay, God doggone it, I'm a Marine. That's Iwo Jima right there. That's a military battle that we fought. You know, so I say this to say, don't be afraid to accept yourself, because it's really hard to identify your ideal client when you haven't identified you. Like when you haven't really closed yourself. on this and then making the decision, which was the second most difficult thing for me, simply because I was also wrestling with something that a lot of you all may be wrestling with, which is the dynamic between generating revenue and maintaining integrity to the vision, right? Because you have a vision, you know where you're trying to go, but you also know you got to make money. So there's this very interesting thing about message to market fit, where you're kind of trying to message to the right person, but you end up finding yourself messaging to people that everybody else is messaging to because they look like they're making money. And they might be, but they might not be. And it really boils down to, okay, are you going to double down? Are you going to focus up? And I'm speaking about me because this might help you. Like, you might have found yourself in that unique situation where you were messaging for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, you're live, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days. I've been there. Ask me how I know. You're posting newsletter after newsletter. And you're like, one newsletter, you're this, the next newsletter, you're that, the next live, you're this, the next number, you're that. And if you really go and look at yourself, and you really, if you're like taking notes, you might not have a brand plan. Hey, bless your heart, but I have one. So when I go back and I look at what I was doing, I'm like, okay, I shifted my ideal client. And then I go back and I look at what was going on with me, how I showed up that day, how I've been showing up for the past 3-4 days. I could say, okay, I had anxiety when I shifted here. Okay, revenue was low when I shifted here. Okay, this anomaly happened in my life and it caused me to lose focus. And all of those things are subtle components of message to market fit that I think definitely deserve some attention as you're building out your messaging and marketing campaigns.
Very good, Bobby. Now, one thing I want everybody to understand how this translates to real business and why this matters to you, our viewer, our listener, because I want you to understand in everything that we do, you are at the center of it. I say brand you, not what you do. So everything that we say here is going to be tailored for you to get value from immediately. So, Bobby, to dig deeper into your experience, and this is going to sound very funny, guys, so pay attention. When you were The Economist, were you making money?
Crickets.
Crickets. So how do we go from crickets to digits? When you started identifying who you were and being authentic and being your true self and finally being vulnerable, transparent, and authentic in the marketplace, you went from crickets to digits. Is that correct?
100% correct.
Guys, this is The Breakfast with the Brand. We'll be right back. It's very important that you know yourself to the highest degree possible, because it's through knowing ourselves that we're able to know other people. You are the most important person in the room, and the better that you know yourself, the better that you're able to communicate to others. So you're not only playing the game knowing who you are, but you're also playing the game knowing who everyone else is, so that you're not playing blind.
He's extremely engaging with people. He has a fantastic smile, and he's just very high energy person.
This is called leadership development. So we have to be independently knowledgeable and considerate to know who we are, so we can more effectively know who other people are. As the leader, it's your responsibility to allocate resources in the right places. If you don't know how to communicate effectively, you're losing the battle. I said Sean Ra'is. I'm proud. I said Sean Ra'is. Leadership is not the brand they made for us.
Listen, he brought fire, heat. He didn't hold back.
20 years down the line, what I could sell, why not serve first? Service over salary. Branding like a leader closes the gap for people who want branding. Speaking like a leader closes the gap for people who are nervous about speaking. If Steve Jobs would have speculated, we wouldn't have Apple.
He changed lives. He helped people open up their business and start their business.
We are the brand. Some people say, Sean, should I quit my job? Mentally, yes.
as a speaker too, to be able to learn from him and watch him and you know, game respects game. And I want to have that much game someday.
The right client, pay $500,000 for what you do. You have to be bold in your beliefs.
He has been an amazing asset to this event and a pleasure to work with. Very captivating, collaborative, worked very well with the audience.
I want to help you. Put a 0 behind your number, right?
The session was great. How he is online, virtually, he is even more phenomenal in person.
Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands.
The entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond.
Give yourself a round of applause. Yes, yes, yes.
So I'm getting hit on the back end, guys, and people are like, "What do you mean?" They think you're aggressive, right? I'm getting hit on the back end. People are blowing me up tomorrow. What do you mean you're not everybody's favorite? Listen, guys, you're never going to be everybody's favorite. You're never, no matter how great you are. So just accept it. Just accept it. You're never going to be everyone's favorite. Make a decision. Make a decision now to have someone not like you. It's okay. Like, it is okay. This is the problem, right? We want to be accepted and revered by everyone. And that's your biggest problem. Your biggest problem is that you can't be Neapolitan in business. Not in marketing. You cannot be Neapolitan. You can't service everyone. I work with people who come to me with so many talents and so many abilities and all of this education and all of this experience. And they say, Sean, I just want to save everyone. I want to save the world. And listen to me, guys. I get it. I understand completely. I suffered from this for a very long time. But if you're on the airplane and something goes wrong, what do they tell you to do? Who do they tell you to put the mask on first? If you try to put the mask on everybody in the marketplace, you're out of here. You won't last at all. You're done. You're toast. So if you can't make the decision to put the mask on yourself first, don't get on the plane. Don't even get on the plane. Don't even get on the plane, because business is war, and you got to make a solid, sound decision to serve your ideal client to the highest possible degree. How can you serve your ideal client how can you serve anyone to the highest possible degree if you're going from person to person to person to person to market to market to market to market? Now you're a coach, then you're a speaker, then you're an author, then you're a this. You know what that's called? That's multi-personality disorder. That's clinical. How do I know? Because I have a master's degree in clinical psychology. That's clinical. That's a problem. Wanting to be liked by everyone to the point that you sacrifice yourself to the lack of success is clinical. It's a you game. It's a you thing. You have to be comfortable in your skin. You have to be authentic. You have to brand you. And then you can service someone to the highest possible degree. See, I can be the best Sean Rais that I can be for my wife because I've accepted myself, my flaws and all. I'm okay. I know I'm not going to be everybody's. I'm fine with people saying, I don't like the way he speaks, or I don't like the way he stands, or I don't like it's okay. You're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. And as soon as you accept that, then you can find out who you were made for. You can find out who you were made for as soon as you can accept yourself. It's the most important thing that we have to do. And the hardest thing for us to do anyway is to make a decision. If you can relate to this, put it in the chat. If you got so many talents, so many skills, so many abilities, so many capabilities, like you can perform at a high level in multiple different places. And this is, I want to solve something for somebody. You can perform at a good level for a lot of different things. And that's why you'll never be great. You'll never be great because you're so good at so many different things that you'll never become phenomenal. And this is why people are so talented, but they're not successful. And this is why sometimes people with things against them shoot straight to the top, because they've only got one shot. And they know they've only got one shot, so they got to ride that one wave. They don't try to surf over to the next wave and the next wave and the next wave. They got one shot. So I want to help you real quick. Forget about all of your talents. Forget about all of your abilities. Forget about all of your capabilities and make a decision. What does your ideal life look like? And who's a part of it? That is the person that your messaging and your marketing is made for.
Yeah. You know, this makes me think of a story that many people may know. You know, even if you're non-religious, many of you may know the story of Jonah and the well. Very popular story. And I think this story is interesting when it comes to messaging, because I experienced my own Jonah in the well scenario, and many of you all might have experienced this as well. But to just keep it business and to help you really wrap your head around it, so did Steve Jobs. So Steve Jobs was the founder of Apple. He was the individual that knew how to create the message. He was a master marketer. Anybody that knows, that's really read his story and knows what his asset was, he wasn't really an engineer like that. That was Steve Wozniak. Steve Wozniak was the one that built all of the stuff. It was Steve Jobs that actually curated the message. But here's the thing about Jonah and the well in the comparison that many of you all may have experienced or will experience if you don't really take what we're saying seriously and lean into your authenticity. So here's what happened. Steve Jobs got to a point where he got thrown off the boat. They kicked him out of Apple. And anybody that knows the story of Jonah and the well, Jonah had this message, he had this story, and he ended up not taking the story or the message to Nineveh, and they threw this dude off the boat. My scenario with this was when I was in my own company and I had my first employee quit. It had never happened to me before. And you don't know what this is like until it happens. Like, you're used to firing people, you know, so to speak, because maybe you can't make payroll or something like that. But imagine being so personality disordered, so to speak, or at least that's how you appear to everybody else. That's how Steve Jobs appeared to a lot of people. And that's how I appeared to my team. You're so dysfunctional. You're so all over the place, so schizophrenic that people start feeling the way you are operating. So they begin to feel schizophrenic. They begin to feel all over the place. And what happened is this wonderful lady, wonderful employee, came to me and said, "I'm sorry, Mr. Jackson, I can't work for you. You're all over the place. I am a marketing expert. I am here to give you A, B, C, D. You're asking for F0, some other symbol, exponent. Like, I don't know what you want. And I cannot do this." And what happened was, it was multiple people that said, "You know what? I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't work here." And it was pretty much like they threw me off of my own boat. Now, granted, here's why I compare it to Jonah, is like the message was still in Jonah. Like, though they threw him off the boat that he was on and he was now in the water, in the well, he still had the message. But it wasn't until he was ready to tell the message the right way that he could come out of the well, go up onto the shore, go to Nineveh, his market, and say what needed to be said to the people that needed to hear it. So I say that story to say this: you might have the story in you. You might even have a team of people around you. But I'll tell you this from personal experience: that team will throw you over. In other words, they will abandon you. They will be like, "I can't do this." They'll leave. They'll bounce because they can't help you, because you're not telling the message the way, dare I say, God gave it to you to tell it. So take that for what it's worth. What is your message? Are you telling your message the way life has given it to you to tell it? And are you saying it to the Ninevites, your ideal client? And if you're not, get comfortable in the belly of the whale. You'll be there for a while until you're ready to come up and tell it right.
I love it. That's a phenomenal story, man. That's a phenomenal story and a phenomenal tie-in, right? Because it's slimy. Just imagine what the belly of the whale is like. It's slimy, it's dark, there's no one else there. You're by yourself, you're all in your head trying to figure out what's going on. Like, that's what it sounds like, right? So if you're in your business, but it feels slimy and you're alone and there's no one coming to your aid, and you scream out in the marketplace and you hear echoes back of you because no one responds to you. You put up a post, no one responds to you. It's crickets in the marketplace. That's what we're talking about. The nightmare. Somebody said in the chat that if you got the wrong client, watch this, guys. Here we go. If you're taking on the wrong clients and you got the wrong targets and you don't know who your ideal client is, the American dream turns into a nightmare. You ever wake up and wonder who's in your house? Well, imagine waking up and wondering who's in your business. Looking at your bank account saying, my God, what's going on? Seeing what somebody else does and then saying, I need to do that. That's the gap, guys. That's the gap. When you idolize or try to emulate someone else. Okay, so watch this. When you do this the right way, it's like the fiddler with the mice. When you do this the right way, it's like the fiddler and the mice. Your ideal clients swarm to you because you got one message for one person. That's called clarity. And behind clarity becomes certainty. And behind certainty becomes courage. And behind courage becomes confidence. So when you're on a job interview, you can speak with your back straight and your hand forward and your eyes direct. And you can speak with conviction because you're clear on why you're there, and you will not be resistible. Like, people will not be able to resist your marketing. They won't be able to resist your presence. They will be drawn towards you magnetically. How many of you would like to have magnetic marketing? The kind of marketing where you put up a message and they respond to it immediately and they begin to speak towards it because it resonates with them. The same thing that Bobby talked about of being thrown over the ship, it's called impeaching in politics. On an actual boat, it's called mutiny because the leader is out of control. Wow. No one wants to work for a terrible leader. No client wants to do business with a person that can't make a decision. We wouldn't even have this phenomenal device. This one specifically, if someone wouldn't have come to their senses, right? So listen to what happened. I think Bobby alluded to it for a moment, but Steve Jobs was impeached. He was impeached. And then this is the most important part, guys. You have a mission to fulfill. You were put here for a reason. He was put here for a reason, but he couldn't make a decision. He was working so hard. You guys are great at what you do, but he was working so hard that he couldn't lock down a specific vision. And where there is no vision, the people perish. So in order not to perish, they had to remove the person who couldn't decide. And then the business began to fail. Literally, the business began to fail. And the individual came back with a clear vision, and they said, "You know what? I think you might have had your time in the belly of the whale. Let's give you another shot because we're going under, guys. You were sent here to help somebody, and they need you to make a decision. They need you to get the vision right. They need you to have a decision-making ability with resolve." Resilience with resolve. decision with discipline and determination to allow it time to develop so that you can dominate. The people that you were sent to serve, they're leaderless without you. They're not being successful because you're not being the best that you can be. You're not being the brand that you could be. The company that's waiting for you to become the CEO is languishing and floundering about without you. There's a population. There is a population that you were sent to serve. So if you're finding yourself without clients, it's not that your clients don't exist. It's not that you're not phenomenal at what you do. It's not that the people aren't present. You don't have message to market fit. Sometimes you need to detox. You need a content detox because we're watching all of these different, how do you say, it's distraction. All of these different voices. There's a saying in the cooking world, it came from culinary, too many chefs in the kitchen. Too many chefs in the kitchen. Sometimes you listen to you're under the influence of too many influencers to be influential. Write it down. You're under the influence of too many influencers to become influential. So you need to make a decision. Where are you going to get that content from? And then you need to unclog the pipe of the debris so you can get the clear message and get the clear picture. Because when you can hear the signal, then you can make an action. But if you're distorted because you're listening to all different signals on all different frequencies with all different directions, and they all have the good intentions, right? They all have great intentions. But what's happening is you're getting your wires crossed. So you're getting miscommunication and then you're giving miscommunication. So I started by saying, when you do this right, it's like the fiddler with the mice. The people come, the people follow you. I guarantee this. This is why we were able to do the numbers and the amounts that we did and went from crickets to digits in the midst of the pandemic with no ads, no ads, no funnel, no email list. I didn't need one because I was authentic. I was comfortable being disliked by some. I was comfortable being disliked by some so I could speak to the heart of my ideal client. It was okay. I was like, okay, I'm fine. I'm great with that. Like, people, that's fine. I'm completely comfortable in my skin. This is what you have to become, comfortable in your skin, being disliked by some so that your ideal client can make their way towards you. If you're not clear, you can't be heard as coherent. You don't have clarity, which means you don't have confidence and you're a little bit scared and you're not courageous. Now, let me show you what the end picture looks like. When you do this the right way, other people, other leaders will begin to follow you. They'll begin to follow you. I guarantee you this, the marketing that you use, the words that you use. There was no one talking branding until we did Branded Like a Leader. It just wasn't in the marketplace. People looked at me and said, what do you mean by branding? When I started coaching years and years ago, people asked me, what are you a coach of? Do you do football, basketball? What are you a coach of? And I'm like, no, it's executive coaching. Sometimes we still have to clarify that. Executive coaching, it's different. It's for business owners. It's for professionals. It's for CEOs. It's for people who are highly proficient in the marketplace already in their profession. They just want to monetize in a different space or move up in or out of their vertical. It's based on evidence-based research and science. It's not your hoopla. It's not the rah-rah. It's not the network marketing thing. It's leadership focused and leadership based. It's for leaders. Executive coaching is different. It's okay being different, guys. Give yourself permission to be different. If we weren't made to be different, everybody would have the same DNA and the same fingerprint. Differentiation is your competitive advantage. Give yourself permission to be different. And leaders will follow you and follow your direction if you can hold on to your decision and your vision long enough. When I was saying branding, there was like a North Star. Now you hear a lot about branding. When I put a different face, a different dialect to leadership, it was like an aberration. People were like, I don't understand. People used to ask me all the time, leadership, is that religious? Is that religion? What do you mean by leadership? The only place I hear leadership is in the church. And I'm like, business leadership, specific demographic leadership. There needs to be a shakeup, a different representation of what leadership looks like, sounds like, a different origin, where it comes from. And we attracted a streamline of ideal clients who chose us. What's happening is when you try to force yourself on other people, you're going around knocking on doors. And who likes a door-to-door salesman? Nobody. But everybody goes to their favorite restaurant. Everybody goes to get their favorite wear because they know where they're going and they know what they expect. The messaging in the marketplace attracts them. It resonates with them. They're on the same frequency. I want you to get this. Message to market fit will be your salvation in the marketplace. We'll be right back. We're going to take one more break, but I want this to dig in.
Business is like a game of chess. It's not checkers. If you don't know how to lead with a personal brand, then you're losing the battle.
Everything about Sean's talk was fantastic. I mean, I got so much from it.
So he was really bringing fire and passion and just love and spirit to let everybody else know how do you become a leader amongst the leaders.
You hold the key in your hand. There is more power in this phone than there was that took the first man to the moon.
His energy, his dynamic information, gave a really great presentation.
I didn't ask for any money. I didn't have an offer. I had a heart to help people and meet them where they were at and find their need and fulfill it.
Sean is the bomb.
I don't talk theory. I don't talk hyperbole. I don't talk opinion. Nothing I talk is anything but evidence-based.
During the G-Circle retreat in Atlanta, I had the pleasure and the honor of listening to Mr. Sean Raiz. He will not only impact your organization, but he will elevate your team to another level.
When you change you, when you put you into the equation, the whole system is different. I guarantee you, you got the right thing. You are the right person. If you can present yourself in the best way possible, there's no negotiation.
His energy is infectious, and I have so many takeaways from the presentation that I can't wait to get started and implement them today to see the result.
You know how deep this is, Bobby? Let me just go a little bit deeper into this, because when I started going live on Facebook organically with no list and just serving people from a place of heart-centered leadership, servant leadership, other people began to as well. Right. And we did it in COVID, like at the very beginning, when there was crickets, when it was mum's the word, when everyone was under the covers trying to find out what's going on. We went live authentically, almost like a public service announcement, consistently. And I put the bold name on what we did: Leadership Live Deep Dive at 5, in a time when it was most critically needed. And we did the alien call for leaders who were a little bit out of this world at 4 o'clock in the morning, Eastern Standard. And when I speak to following the leader, as we did this, it kind of gave other people permission to follow the data, follow the example. When you step into your authentic self, what you're going to find is that you're giving other people permission to take action as well.
You know, I wrote down a 4D framework of my own. This is slightly different, so I'm not going to call it a 4D framework. That's already been established, but it's 4Ds, right? So the 4Ds that I have here that are pretty interesting is details determine dollar distribution. And that's what came to my mind as I thought about marketing. You know, the more detailed your message is, like some of you all may remember the red tie before it was a black blazer. Some of you, not many of you, maybe, who knows? But I do. I remember the bald head was always there. And I remember when the blazer introduced itself. And I also remember the backgrounds and the various changes that the backgrounds went through. I remember all of the different nuances that I was present for, because Sean was around way long before me. So there's so many evolutions that I don't even know about, you know? So I say that to say details determine dollar distribution. So if you don't feel like you're getting the dollars you want coming to your vertical, flowing into your space, then it's probably because you lack detail. Like the detail, what does Sean always say? God is in the details. The devil is too. So they say the devil's in the details. God, Sean says God is too. And I've grown to appreciate that axiom. And I believe it, because when you go deep and you accept your story and you're authentic about your story and you lean into the details and you really refine it. When it was taught to me, it sounded something like a charismatic cliffhanger. It sounded something like a driver. It sounded something like really understanding the nuances that go into finely crafting. Oh my goodness, we don't have time to go into this, but I'll give you this one experience that I'll never forget that my coach took me on. He showed us some watches. And the watches that he showed us were very, very phenomenal watches. And we just looked at the detail of them. And we just looked at the detail of them. The face, we looked at the gears, we looked at the band, we looked at all of these different things. And what we noticed was that the finer the detail, the more craftsmanship that went into the work of art, the more money was commanded for that thing. So I say, if you can wrap your head around this, you know, don't be afraid to be an architect to a degree. You know, architect your design. Sean says it all the time, but I don't know if it clicks. Like sometimes you might need to pull out the blue paper with the squares on it and really build your message so that when you take it to the marketplace, it can do what it's supposed to do. So details determine dollar distribution. That was my piece.
Very good. Very good. So one reason why we do this, right? Let me just take you to the quote, right? The quote of the day. The quote of the day today is going to be from Jack Welch. He says, before you are a leader, success is all about growing yourself. When you become a leader, success is all about growing others. Quote of the day, before you are a leader, success is all about growing yourself. When you become a leader, success is all about growing others. So people always ask me, Sean, why do you go live? Why do you help people for free? Why do you give so much for free? That's leadership. That's the leadership that I know. Helping people, selflessly serving from an overflowing cup. If you don't make room in your cup for more, then you'll never get more. And some would say you don't deserve more. But I want to say this real quick before we go on this point. Apple is $1 billion brand. Apple is $1 billion brand, but who would believe that in 1997 they were almost broke, busted, on the verge of bankruptcy before they stepped into their authentic self? Before they stepped into their authentic self, Apple, it says it's hard to believe that one of the world's largest companies by market capitalization was once in dire straits. While never actually filing for bankruptcy, Apple was on the verge of going bust in 1997. Why? Their products weren't innovative. In personal branding, innovation is correlated with authenticity. Apple products were not innovative. Their products were outdated, and their competition was crushing them. This is The Breakfast with the Brand. We'll be here tomorrow, same time, same place, to help you meet your family's goals and create the life of your dreams by creating a business that you never thought possible. Let's grow.